course, the MPC decision will be held tomorrow. Many are saying it's going to remain unchanged at 6%. How is trade today, given the fact that we are going to see that decision tomorrow, or have most movements already been factored in?
Well, it's from what I've seen from historically speaking, the last 4 weeks we've been seeing the market trending downwards. We think the cause for that is either correction or a much larger underlying issue. So whatever announcement there is tomorrow, the outcome will probably not affect it much, because even the people making money in the market right now are doing it off stock picking. There's no general upward trend to ride on.
So do you suspect that we're going to see the NSE 20 basically flatlining towards the end of the year?
Perhaps. It's been said that this is a trend that is expected around this time of the year. The other issue, of course, is there's quite a bit of capital raising going on right now. There's perhaps maybe about 3 billion worth of private placements going on, not to mention, of course, the normal government bond program. So you could argue that there's a lot of money also exiting the market towards these opportunities.
Well, Johnson, it's interesting. I mean, looking at the most recent news coming through, a $500 million euro bond is what the Kenyan government is looking at. Of course, we know that it has been in discussions with the likes of the IMF. A credit facility such as this one could, of course, be very positive for the shilling. What kind of impact do you think it will have on the local currency, given the fact that the central bank has been criticized for intervening in the currency and for keeping a cap on strength coming through?
Yeah, well, we hope the central bank will let the strength come through and lift the shilling, because that should help protect from the Kenya from inflation, imported inflation. Remember, the oil has been rising of late, and not just oil, but most, if not all, commodities trading in international markets, and this is going to have an impact on Kenya in commodity prices. So a stronger shilling could help in that regard, in terms of keeping cost of living down. If that is one of the effects that will happen, then it will be a positive effect.
Of course, the shilling at 80.45 to the US dollar. The dollar gaining ground against a basket of major currencies. We're seeing some troubles coming through in Asia, and this is why we are starting to see a few investors liquidating their positions in emerging market currencies. You mentioned inflation and imported inflation, but the reality is in Kenya right now, the inflation rate is slightly above 3%, so it's relatively low. Do you think that that number is going to tick up significantly going forward, or do you think it's going to remain at those levels?
Well, we're not so concerned so much about the government numbers, because what you're seeing on the ground could be something different. I mean, if you look at oil prices have been rising up. You've got the Central Organization of Trade Union calling for a nationwide strike to protest the rise in oil prices, which is expected to feed into other commodity prices. So such dynamics are what concern me more. Going forward, I'm trying to look at a way to hedge against inflation, because if the shilling stays weak, the commodity prices gains will feed into the economy, and you expect that to
Johnson, let's touch on some corporate news. Looking at Centum reporting a 908% rise in half-year pre-tax profits. A company that is planning to list in Uganda as well. We know that it focuses on the real estate and infrastructure space, of course, property being a key part of its portfolio, and the likes of private equity and also quoted private equity. What sense are you getting from the investor community? Do you think that this stock is fully priced, or do you think there is more room for growth going forward?
I think there's definitely more room for growth going forward. Remember the real estate, energy and infrastructure business line, because they have segmented their business into 3 distinct business lines, that being the newest member of the block. So even its returns have not started coming through yet. The returns that were posted were largely because of they were largely as a result of investments which coming from the quoted private equity, as well as private equity business lines, and which form the bulk of the company's portfolio. So they've just put in around 1.5 billion into the business, largely in real estate, and which will start perhaps. We may start seeing the results maybe in the next couple of years.
Johnson, when you look at what's been happening in Kenya, Nigeria and most of sub-Saharan Africa, credit lines are starting to open up quite significantly. Most economies are now looking to open up credit lines with various countries, and also it's also a lot of corporate activity that we've been seeing. The most recent I&M Bank signing a 7-year credit line of $25 million with the Netherlands Development Finance Company, and of course that's for onward lending with regards to the bank. Do you think that this is going to be an overall positive development, perhaps just proving the fact that risk perceptions on a global level have altered significantly?
Well, they have, and we expect to see more of this, because you see infrastructure development, for example, is relatively underdeveloped. I mean, say in East Africa is underdeveloped. So there's a lot of scope for lending, for financing huge infrastructure projects, and a lot of banks are angling towards these opportunities. And of course, any other business that may crop up as a result of this investment. So especially in the SME space. So you've got the SME space and the infrastructure space, where there are lots of opportunities for investment, I mean for funding, and banks are generally positioning themselves to take advantage of these opportunities. Not, of course, to forget that the central bank governor, or rather the Minister of Finance, through the finance bill, I can't remember for which year, pushed up minimum capital standards. So a lot of banks have also been pushing up their capitalization to meet this directive. And in so doing, of course, they will need to put that money to work, creating competition. So everybody else now is looking to show up their watches, so to speak, so that they can be able to take advantage of this opportunity.
Fantastic.